Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. This week's PPF video that we got for you, we got this 2016 Ford F-150 in our shop. It's got 200,000 kilometers on it, and we're gonna put the mileage down below in the screen so all of you who are outside of Canada can see the true mileage of this truck. Yeah, you're probably wondering, why is there a truck with 200,000 kilometers in our shop getting paint protection film installed on it? Very simple. The owner wanted to protect it. The paint was in decent shape but had a number of stone chips, and he has fixed them up. So this is by no means going to be a perfect paint job, but the customer still wants to protect it, so that's what we're going to do. In this video, we're going to be doing the front driver fender, and I'm going to be taking you through the entire steps from start to finish. I've already gone ahead and prepped it. I've got our pre-cut PPF pattern that we're going to be using, which has been modified. I've added 2 inches all the way around the pattern, and I got that idea from the Tinstitute on Instagram. I saw Austin was using that 2-inch excessive or extra wrap for some of their installs, and I thought, hey, let's give that a shot. So check them out on Instagram, but in this video we're going to try that out and see how that goes. So we're aiming for perfect 100% coverage on this install, and we're even going to go a little bit further than what we normally would do. We're even going to be wrapping the back edge of this fender as well too, which is an edge that we don't normally wrap. So hope you guys enjoy this video. Okay, so we've got our fender panel. It's back rolled onto the fender. Now we're going to get going. So you can see extra 2 inches all the way around. Definitely some excessive coverage. This is like a bulk / pattern hybrid template. So where I'm actually going to start is I'm actually going to start right around the F-150 emblem, and just going to make sure that that's nice and lined up first. I need a bit more slip solution. Okay, so all I'm doing right now is just making sure that the pattern is lined up all the way around, and it is. So I'm just going to squeeze that down. Do have a little piece of contamination there. Still there. Perfect. There we go. Now I'll come along the top as well too. We'll get that all down. Okay, good. Now we know that the emblem area is down, so that's good. What I'm going to do is just pull the film back, get a little bit more slip solution there. You can see how the slip solution is starting to fall down the area where we squeegeed. That's completely fine. I'm not worried about that moving the template off around the decal, or the emblem I should say. That's fine. So all I'm going to do now is I got these air bubbles here, these air pockets. Just going to do my best to massage those out by hand. Always want to make sure I'm squeegeeing the same place more than once, because we want to try and avoid as much moisture as possible being left behind. There we go. That's good. Now I'm going to get my tack solution. Now my tack solution is just hot water. All I'm going to do is pull the film back up top here. And going to take and run my squeegee over that body line there. Make sure I'm pushing everything out that may have gotten on that body line. we go. Now I'm actually gonna pull the film back just one more time. There we go. That is perfect. Okay, now that I got the top down, I got around the F-150 badge down, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take and get all the film down, all the way down to the bottom of the panel. Get some more slip solution on top of the film. So Josh, soaking the back of the adhesive as well as the panel with more slip solution, so the film's gonna glide into place nicely. Now what I'm gonna do right now is I'm actually gonna take and spray some tack solution down here underneath. Same with on the back of the film. Like I said earlier, tack solution is just hot water. So this right here is just gonna dry the adhesive out. I'm gonna give it a slight stretch. Gonna hold that in place there. Squeegee it down. I don't expect that to hold for long. Okay, now you can see that the PPF is over top of this fender flare here, and you can see there's a nice gap there. Same thing, we got this gap over here between the fender and the door, as well over here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the film back. Got my tack solution in there, and I'm just gonna go from the bottom all the way up till this body line. I'm just squeegee that out and squeegee all the other tack solution out that is there. There we go. Now we're gonna do the same thing over here at this sharp body line. So I'm just gonna take my finger, I'm gonna go up right over here to this valley, and then I'm gonna hold one finger there. I'm gonna work that into place. Now hopefully that will have stuck. Yes, that's perfect. Now I'm gonna squeegee that out. I'm gonna take my squeegee, it's super flexible, and I'm just gonna get the squeegee to conform to that valley so that stays down. As you can see, right over here, we got ourselves an air pocket. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pull the film back right over here, and got my blade over here. Just gonna puncture the film, make sure I'm not touching any paint. There we go. And what I'm gonna do is get my tack solution in there, and then just with my finger, and get that pressed down. And into place for now. Once I got everything else trimmed off, that will stay down. But for now, we're good to move on. So now everything is good over here. Just gonna take and squeegee this down and out. You can see the PPF is already starting to seal itself on the edges. So just gonna lift that up a little bit, get that moisture out. Good. Now, what I'm gonna do as we move forward is I'm gonna pull the film up. You can hear how it's sticking already. What I'm gonna do, just get more slip solution behind it. There we go. Now we've got slip solution both on top and underneath the PPF. What we can do now is we can start to get all the air out. So we know that we've got this valley over here that runs along basically the whole fender. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start down at the bottom over here before it starts. My fingers are wet, so what I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna run my fingers along. And I'm gonna push as much of that air out as I possibly can. Because we've got 2 inches added to this fender, we don't have to worry about this not lining up anywhere because we've got full coverage as is right now. We just need to make sure that we get all the air out so we can actually start our install. And there we go. That's good. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna come over here. We wanna come right to this corner. You can see how the PPF is not sitting down here. We got this finger. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give this a light stretch. And I'm actually gonna tuck that corner right over there. So this is gonna help us when we wrap edges. We're gonna be able to get almost 100% coverage on that super sharp corner, which is gonna be huge. Customers are gonna be pumped about that. Now I'm gonna come down over here because as we stretched over there, we created some tension on the film here. So all we need to do is we basically just need to pull this down. But as we pull it down, look what's happening. Our air is coming back. That's fine. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get our tack solution here. I'm just gonna stretch this out so the film lays flat. Actually, that didn't work quite well. There we go. Now we're gonna come back over here and we're gonna get all this air out. You have to be able to give the air a place to exit as well too. Okay, now we're good to squeegee the rest out, but I'm gonna start right over here. So I'm starting right above this ridge. I'm gonna come right across over here. And come down. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna flex my squeegee right over this curve. And I'm gonna squeegee right with it, right with that body line. Starting to get a little bit dry on the surface there, so just gonna get some more slip solution on there. Now, what we're gonna do is we're actually just gonna try and get as much air to there as possible. We are gonna have to just leave this for now. We're gonna have to come in and we're gonna have to trim the excess off to get that to properly lay down. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish off the top over here. So just lifting up the film, make sure it's not sticking prematurely anywhere over here. You can see I'm being extra cautious right along this body line, giving it multiple extra passes. That's because these body lines are so prone to having moisture get stuck behind. You can see right over here, we're having some issues. Just gonna get that to pop. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna squeegee this out the top. That's good. Now before we go crazy and start doing a bunch of trimming, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a microfiber towel, dry this panel off. I keep forgetting that 200,000 kilometers on this truck, and that the paint is far from perfect. Even though stone chips have been touched up, they still will be noticeable. Okay, that'll be good for now. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to take care of this over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come along right over here. I'm actually going to pull the PPF up. I'm going to get my knife under the film. There we go. Now that I've done that, what I can do is I can actually lift the film up and I can trim. I don't have to worry about the knife going all the way through the PPF because the PPF is not actually on the vehicle. And therefore, there's no risk to me potentially cutting paint. Still want to be slow, still want to be careful while doing this, because you very easily could slip and end up cutting the film, or cutting the paint, I should say. Okay, so that's that cut. There we go. Now, what we can do is we can get our squeegee in here, and actually, yeah, we're gonna get the squeegee in like this. And all I'm doing is I'm lifting up and then I'm spraying my tack solution in there. Don't get too carried away. I'm just gonna come right over here. And we're gonna get this all squeegeed down. So that is perfect. Now we're going to come over here, get that squeegee back underneath there, and we'll come over here to the area where we stopped. Okay, now we're gonna get that area down. Still got a little bit of slip solution in there. Just gonna hold that with my thumb. That's perfect. Okay, now I'm just gonna dry that off. That area is still popping up. So what we're gonna do is when we trim all this off, I think because there's still some tension over here because it's still, film is still built up onto this fender flare. Once that's trimmed out and there's no tension there, that'll lay flat, no problem. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here. You can see that we've got this right over here by the headlight. That's gonna cause some issues. So what we're gonna do is very carefully gonna take and trim the PPF right below the fender and above the fog light. And I'm just gonna do the same thing I did right around that fender flare. And I'm not aiming to have the world's perfect cut right over here because I just want to get rid of all the tension build up so I can get the PPF to sit in place properly. There we go. Now I'm just gonna pull the film back, flush it out. Just gonna get my tack solution in there. And I'm actually gonna start right over here at this corner. Got some fingers that are wanting to build up, so I'm just gonna take and come at this at an angle, and we're gonna saw those fingers down. And that side to side sawing motion. That's good. Okay, there we go. We got ourselves some moisture bubbles here, but that's fine. We'll take care of those after. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So the PPF is installed. Now we got to do all the fine edge, fine tuning work. And we got to take and trim all the edges. And we got to tuck them, and then we got to do all our post heating. So we'll bring you along for that. All right, time for some of the tedious work. We're going to be trimming off the majority of the excess PPF here. So I got my knife. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start right over here where the PPF starts to curve downwards. And I'm going to do something that's going to make wrapping a whole lot easier. I'm only going to leave behind maybe 1/8 of an inch right over here. Reason being is the more film that you're trying to wrap on a corner like that, the harder it is to get it to lay down. So I only just want just enough that I can wrap it so it's going to look nice. Now what we're going to do is we're going to trim the rest right along the top. So I'm leaving roughly 1/2 inch behind that needs to be wrapped. Gets a little bit tricky when you got the hood open like this. So what I'm gonna do is actually gonna cut and pull the knife towards me. This doesn't have to be perfect right now. We just want to get rid of a bunch of excess material. Now, before I trim around this corner, I want to make sure that the PPF is not sticking itself to the A-pillar. Now that I got that unstuck, just going to come over here. Okay, that's good. Now, I'm just going to pull that off. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna come right over here, make sure the PPF is not stuck to the door, which it is. Actually, I'm gonna get my tack solution. I'm gonna show you guys something here. Okay, so I got that corner down. That's not going anywhere. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna trim out this corner. This might be hard to get on camera given the fact that we got the mirror over here that's kind of in the way. But I'm gonna come right over here to the very top. And all I'm doing is just coming around that corner. Just enough to give that a bit of a notch. See all these PPF installers investing in tweezers for this exact reason. Never once did I ever think I should get myself a pair. But, okay, so we got that. Now, I'm just gonna take and I'm gonna run my knife right in between the fender and the door. And I'm basically gonna split the gap with my wrapped edge. Now I can take and trim all that off. There we go. That's gonna be a pretty easy edge to wrap. Now we're gonna do this top edge. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this corner cut. Now, since I did tuck it over the edge, all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take and cut right on the corner there, just like so. Now I'm following the very, very bottom edge of that fender. Now very slowly, coming around this headlight. Come down here to the bottom. Now I just need to be careful with that fender flare right there. There we go. Now, let's see if this trim, yeah, you can see right over here with me pulling away, you can see how it's not just separating so easily. I actually have to like pull at it. So now this cut is looking just as good as the one I did right along the fender flare. There we go. That's perfect. Now is the best part. We can get to wrapping the edges because that means we're almost done. Okay, so now that we've got all the excess PPF trimmed off, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take and pull the film back and We're going to flush out any remaining slip solution. There we go. Come on. This can get a little bit tedious when you're doing this. This is going to be trimmed off right over here. So there is some paint damage underneath. So I got a new blade here. Did not trim hard enough. Okay, perfect. Now what we're off to is we're gonna finish off with some post heating. So got all the PPF trimmed, edges are dried out. What we're gonna do is just take our heat gun. We're gonna start over here at this corner. Give it some heat. Come in there with the microfiber towel. Just press it down. So what this is going to do right now is the heat gun is just drying out the adhesive of the PPF, and the microfiber towel is just going to take and pick up any of the moisture that was left behind. All I'm doing right here is just heating up the PPF enough that I can roll it over that edge. Just going to heat this up over here. Now, what we're going to do is I'm actually going to get this rounded corner down first before I do any of this, or this flat area right at the front. So what I'm doing is just heating this up. You can see how the film's starting to want to wrinkle itself. Now I'm just going to take my thumb, just back and forth, slowly wrapping that over the edges, just like that. PPF lays down, I'm not going to have any issues. Come over here to the front. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna post heat right around this corner right here. So you always want to keep that heat gun moving. You don't want to keep it in the same spot. You do run the risk of burning the film. If that happens, then you got to redo it. And that's an awfully expensive redo. It's a waste of time and it's a waste of your materials. Go. Now we're going to post heat right along here. And then we'll continue over here. Now this area right here where we were having issues, just press that down. Give that some heat. It's good. Okay, now we're gonna wrap this back edge, which is, I hate doing it, but sometimes you got to do it. All I'm going to do now, I got the door open just so I can get my thumb around a lot better. So I'm actually going to start in the middle. I'm going to do this in 2 sections. I'm going to do the bottom section first, and then I'm going to do the top section after that. So just giving everything some heat. Slowly wrapping that edge. So now that that edge is wrapped, I'm just gonna go nice and slow back and forth, give it some extra heat. Now, we're gonna do the top section. Super easy, nothing to it. Now the very last thing that we're gonna do some post heating on is we're gonna post heat right around the F-150 badge. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat up right where the bottom of the PPF is, and I'm just gonna come along with the rag and some pressure going back and forth with my finger. And it's gonna press out any moisture that's been left behind. Okay, there we go. That fender is finished. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more paint protection film content. We're gonna be doing a lot on this F-150, so hope you guys enjoy.